meeting is called to order. Lee, will you go ahead and call the roll?
Kayola,
Here.
Greg,
Here.
Jim,
Here.
Lee, here, Mary Ann,
Here.
Ross,
Here.
Phil,
Here.
everybody's here.
Okay. All right. So the purpose of this meeting is that to work out all the details we can about the election. Hopefully, well, I don't know that we'll be able to get everything, but we'll definitely try to work out everything we can tonight. And then
You froze.
move into executive session, discuss some litigation now. Did someone say something?
You're freezing up a little bit,
I am?
a little bit.
Okay. Not a good time for electronics to not work, right? Am I good now?
Yes.
You can always kill your video, which takes up more bandwidth if.
Okay. All right. I moved it in order to facilitate, expedite the discussions and actions to be done this evening, that we exclude the members from deliberation discussion. And that's the motion. It's a motion on the floor.
Keola, this is Phil Denny. I oppose such a motion. That's complete opposite of transparency, particularly at this troubled times where there's lots of issues to be discussed. I think it's critical that the members be allowed to attend. Thank you.
As do I. I think we're governed by 414D and 421J, as everybody knows, and it says, A, not only should members be allowed to participate, sticking them at the end of the meeting instead of allowing them to be part of the discussion is improper. So I object and think that the members who were called into this special session and were attentive enough to attend here need to be heard and need to participate.
Okay. Anyone else?
Agreed.
Okay, we're not telling them that. Oh, somebody's got some bad feedback.
Yeah,
We're not
somebody's
telling-
trying to record it.
We're not telling the members to leave, just as we go through this, just to facilitate and get this done.
That
So,
was me causing all that interference because my computer decided to wake up now.
oh,
So I had the
okay.
phone and the computer.
Anybody else?
Yeah, Keola, I didn't understand what you just said. You're not asking the members not to participate? Is that what you said?
What I'm not asking them to leave. That's what it sounded like Phil was trying to say.
Keola, what's the difference? If they're watching it but are muted, isn't that the same as them not participating? I don't understand. You're
It's still-
parsing words here.
It's still allowing them to see how we're going through the discussion this process.
But that's not participation,
Oh, come on.
in my
Okay.
opinion.
Okay, well, 421J does allow for us to do this, so we can vote on it.
Can you please cite the reference in 421J?
421J-5.
I'm looking at it. Show me the line.
It's A, I believe.
No, well, okay, all meetings of the Board of Directors other than executive sessions shall be open to all members to provide input on the matters being discussed. That seems pretty clear to me.
Yeah, keep reading, Jim.
All right, members who are not on the Board of Directors may participate in any deliberation or discussion other than during executive sessions unless a majority of a quorum of the Board of Directors votes otherwise. Is that what you're proposing? You're gonna
That's
have
what
your
I'm
four, you're gonna have your 4 friends vote everybody out. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm proposing, just so we can expedite this process.
What's the rush?
I don't want to be here till 12 midnight.
Well, when you took the job, that's unfortunate, but that's
Okay.
what you agreed to do.
I move the previous question. Let's go ahead and vote. Okay, the motion is that in order to facilitate and expedite the discussions and action be done this meeting, and this evening, we exclude the members from our deliberation discussion. Lee, we do a roll call vote.
Yeah, Kayla,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes,
Jim,
Absolutely not.
a yes or no is sufficient. Lee, yes. Mary Ann,
No,
Ross,
Yes.
Phil,
No,
Okay, the motion carries. Okay. I'm appalled with those members of the board who tried to hijack the election just recently. They intentionally disregarded the will of the majority of the board and sent out
That's not
ballots.
true. That's not true.
Sent out
It is act-
ballots knowing
There were
full
5
well.
people voted to have
David,
the
remember-
election. And the election committee was properly appointed and I'm not a member of it, but I know they did their best.
They
And
intentionally.
you have, when you were
Mary-
absent, 5 people voted to have the
Point of
election on the
order.
26th. So well, at least don't tell a lie. Tell the truth. 5 people, a majority of the board voted. And if need be, we can produce the documents that
They
show.
intentionally disregarded the will of the majority and sent out ballots knowing full well that this meeting was called for the express purpose of working out the details of the election.
This was, as I understand it, that was done before the meeting was called, even the one that you tried to put in 1 day's notice last week. So at least be honest here.
I am honest. They just said in the form, they mailed it out Friday or Saturday, whichever it was, which is it, Phil? Nevertheless, you circumvented the vetting process in the CCNRs. So that went against the will of the majority. I therefore move that the election committee be dissolved and that further tasks be done by assignment.
Phil, if I could respond, please. This is Phil Denny.
Sure.
I checked the bylaws that were posted on the LCA website this afternoon. We followed the bylaws exactly as they're currently written. Article 3, Section 1 sets the date of the election. March 19th. It was moved up 1 week with everybody's consent because of a conflict for a dog giveaway or whatever. Article 4, Section 2 clearly lays out the staggered 2-year terms for 3 candidates in even years. Article 3, Section 6 addressed the good standing issue. It says dues only. No mention of CCNR compliance is there. And if it exists, why hasn't it been posted in 45 years? The question is, Keola, which bylaws do you follow? Those that are posted on the website, or the ones you wish were posted, or the ones you hope might be posted? We followed the ones that were posted. We did as we were told to do, and I think we did so honestly and admirably and openly. And for you to accuse us of hijacking the election is the height of irresponsibility. We didn't hijack anything. What you're doing right here, Keola, is hijacking the election for your own benefit. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your comment. Anyone else have anything?
yeah, I do. You of 3 are the ones that picked which bylaws you wanted to go by. We've been fighting this for over a year. You decided to pick the one. Jim, will you just be
Cite your
quiet?
reference. Cite your reference. Which one? Cite it. That's what Phil did. Have the courtesy. You can't just globally say you guys are violating. Phil spoke specifically as can I, as can anybody on this phone that goes to the website.
Phil did not speak the will of this board. We disagreed with those changes in the bylaws, and that's what the hell we've been fighting for the last year.
So
And you
Greg,
and
what?
Phil- You and Phil and Mary Ann have gone behind our backs. You've sent out ballots that are so screwed up that I couldn't believe when I saw one today. They're coming into the office and Kim wasn't even aware ballots were out there. It's not even marked a ballot. But it's
Greg, we followed the bylaws as written. Okay, you can't make them
picked
up.
which bylaws you wanted to follow.
I chose to follow the bylaws that are posted on the LCA website, Greg. That's the ones that I think are official, not the ones that you want to make up or the ones you wish were there, or the ones that you mysteriously find from 1977. That doesn't work, Greg. I followed the ones that are written, the ones that everyone is given. These are the bylaws, Greg, not
Those
something
the
you want to
bylaws
make
were
up.
changed incorrectly.
Okay,
But that's
fine,
not what the
fine.
judge ruled, Greg. Have
Okay.
you taken
Judge
that
hasn't
read what the
ruled.
judge's
Call to
ruling
order.
is?
Call to order.
I wasn't finished. I wasn't finished, Keola.
Well, you
Uh,
guys
I-
have been talking over Greg too. You've been interrupting him. There's a call to
I-
order. The
I
motion
apologize. I
is
apologize, Greg. I
the-
apologize. If you have more
the-
to say, please say it.
regarding
All
the
I've got to
motion.
say right now is no matter what has happened, the ballots that went out are completely screwed up. They've got to be canceled and we got to do it right. There's no signatures on the ballot. There's no way to verify them. And it's just, and did you guys look at what you were mailing out? Some people are getting, however many lots they're getting. My next door neighbor called me. How come I'm getting 3 ballots? She has 2 lots. You guys didn't use a mailing list. You used a customer list. So there's each lot is listed and then there's a summary. 3, you sent out 3 ballots to every person on there. And Kim got 2 back today that all it had was a person's name on it and no address. So I don't know if you guys looked at anything or you just went, and heaven forbid you ask questions, because then we would have found out what you were up to and we would have tried to maybe not stop it, at least help get you on the right track, because that's what we expected of that committee. The committee was to come, get their act together, decide what they want to do, come to the board, we review it, and we vote on it, and it's done. But now you 3 decided to just move ahead with your own ideas, and it's screwed.
Just for the record, I wasn't on the election committee.
Tim, I don't care whether you were on or not.
Okay,
Could,
the motion on the floor is that the election committee be dissolved and that further tasks be done by assignment. I'll move the previous question. Lee, will you call a vote?
Payola,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Lee, yes, Mary Ann,
no,
Ross,
Yes,
Phil,
No,
Jim,
Is that everyone?
Nope.
Jim,
I'm a
Oh.
no.
Jim, sorry.
No,
Motion carries. The election committee is dissolved.
could I just speak to the mailing list that it seems like to me is the office manager's function to give the right list. She gave me more than one list. So I'm going by what she gave me. That I believe is supposed to be an office manager's function. I didn't understand why I had to be in the middle of it, but she said she was removed from working on the elections because of Andy removing the machine or something. So I did the best I could with working with the office manager.
No, what you did, you asked for a customer list and that's what you got. Kim had no idea you were using it as a mailing list, or you would have got a completely different list.
She sent me 2 different lists.
What you originally got was an Excel list that you could have sorted any way you wanted. Okay, you could have looked at that, you could have taken dupes off, you could have done whatever you wanted with it. Kim told me she changed it twice for you, and still, Never once did you mention that you were mailing. If you had told her that, she would have said, oh, you can't use, this isn't the list you want to use.
So
But you
why?
guys
would
are trying to be
I-
big secretive stuff, and that's what happened
Excuse
to
me.
you. You messed it up.
Nothing was secretive. Phil and I met at the Longhouse to discuss this. This conversation that we're all having tonight should have happened in January. And I'm just trying to move things ahead so we can move forward, which is what I've been hoping for a year. A year now, I've been waiting for this lawsuit to end. And it's been, this last few months has been brutal for me personally on this board, and I'm still trying to do my best. And I think we can work with the ballot as it is. However, there should be more discussion on how to move forward at this point in time. Thank you.
Mary Ann, you can't use it. The people are so confused. I've had a half a dozen phone calls from people going, what the hell is this? And what am I supposed to be doing? And I'm going, I don't even know what you're talking about. I never even got a ballot. So.
In the future, I do believe it should be the office manager's function to work with the people that do the mailing. I believe she has the ability to do that, and that should be
Should have
her.
been communicated to her.
Pardon me?
Maybe it should have been communicated to her. Maybe she didn't understand what you wanted. Doesn't sound like she knew what you were asking for.
Well, I think she did
Not a
because she
members
blamed
list, maybe,
Andy.
and not a mailing list. I didn't even know there was two separate things. So unless you specify, how is she to know?
Yeah, you're right. She's a winner.
All right, moving
That's
on.
honesty.
Term length and number of positions to be filled. In order to facilitate this election in the clearest way possible, I move that this board declares that in accordance with HRS 414D 36, 52, and 187, the Charter of Incorporation, paragraph 9th, and the properly amended bylaw of June 30th, 1969, Article 16, Section 1, that the bylaw change done solely by the Board of Directors without a vote from the members on December 12th, 2019 is invalid and therefore null and void. That's the motion on the floor.
Hey, I
Keola,
can't write that fast.
What is the benefit to the community here?
This is our stance, and it allows us to clearly move forward as to what we're going to designate as the length of the term, and also the term length, and also how many positions that we need to fill.
Keola,
Yes.
with regard to your comment about the bylaws change, I think Phil has already pointed out that no such thing exists in the bylaws. So
It does exist.
on the ones that are posted on the website,
That
I don't think it does.
Yes, it is posted on the website too. The 1969 amendment change is posted on the website. And this is where this is part of the lawsuit. So this is essentially stating our position because we believe this way. And the fact that the charter is very clear that the bylaws can only be changed by the members. And so is the properly amended bylaw back in 1969 says that it only refers to members being able to amend it. This is the position we've had as plaintiff this whole time. And now you're saying you feel differently?
No, I'm saying that two or three things. One, for the last 2 years, the bylaws as amended in 2019 were in place. We were elected under those. The judge dismissed our motion, the plaintiff's motion. Thus, the existing bylaws, which call, as Phil indicated, for rotating 4 and 3, 4 and 3, that's what's currently in place. And the judge clearly says in his ruling dated the 11th of February, that unless there's a motion before him, he can't rule otherwise, but he denied our motion, the plaintiff's motion, and the defense motion in fairness, but he denied it. So thus the bylaws as currently posted are in place.
And he also wanted to see what action we would take. This is an action to take. Is there anybody else got anything to say?
Are you proposing to change it to 1-year terms and then pass that by the membership for approval? Because that's what the claim in the lawsuit is, that the previous board did not do that.
The change is, it's saying that what they did was invalid. The action they took was invalid. They did not follow the charter in making sure it was a member vote. That's what the HRS 414D, those various sections I said, it says the bylaws have to comply with the charter. The original bylaws do not. There was an amendment in 1969 which brought it into compliance with the charter. That same amendment and those same bylaws were followed by the LCA for decades.
Keola, can you please explain why those bylaws are not the ones that are posted on the website?
That I don't know.
Well,
As
then
far
how
as,
could,
because
how-
there's a conflict. So this is merely declaring our stance on it.
our
So,
stance as members, or our stance as 4 people on the board?
This stance is the board.
And by the way, there's also a clause somewhere in here that says people with conflicts of interest must exclude themselves. And people that have money in the lawsuit should be identifying themselves as having a conflict of interest.
Oh, give
There's
me a
no
break.
conflict when I've been pushing for the rights of the LCA this whole time.
That's all.
So
anybody-
Keola, this is Phil. Excuse me, Ross. So what you're saying is that if this motion passes, the election would revert to 7 directors elected for 1-year terms each year. Is that what you're
That's
saying?
correct. Because that would bring the bylaws back to what they were. We're basically declaring that they were done wrong and are therefore invalid. I mean, that's the position we've taken for this whole time.
If
Why,
I'm correct,
Keola?
that was the position every person on this current board took a year ago.
Yep.
Why have we waited a whole year for this to come up the month of the election?
A year
Because we were
ago,
waiting for the court. Gee,
a year ago, when we were elected, Andy and Alice quit, and we brought the board back up to 7. I was ready to cut the losses. And we know that from an email. I was told basically, just hold on, something's gonna happen. Well, that was a year ago. And if you don't remember, what I ran on last year was not wasting money on attorneys. Thank you.
Does anyone else want to comment?
The
or
bottom line is,
Okay.
we're gonna have an election, and I think this is the way to go. You got enough people that want to run, that doesn't matter whether there's 3 or 7, there's lots of people to run. It just has to be done right, and I say we vote for it, get it done, and you don't have to worry about me, because I certainly am not gonna run for this damn board again. I'm sick of what I've had to deal with this year.
I concur.
Okay, so I move the previous.
So I have some comments. So Mike,
Of course.
Always.
My
Oh.
word, people.
Okay, call to order. Is it regarding this specific motion, Jim?
well, I think it is. All I want to say is, as far as I'm concerned, the election committee, before you guys voted to dissolve it, acted with integrity and in their opinion, properly. So I just want to put that on the record.
Okay, okay, I move the previous question. The motion is that this board declares that in accordance with HRS 414D 36, 52, and 187, the Charter of Incorporation, paragraph 9th, and the properly amended bylaw of June 30th, 1969, Article 16, Section 1, that the bylaw change done solely by the Board of Directors without a vote from the members on December 12th, 2019 is invalid and therefore null and void. Lee, go ahead, do a
Kayola.
roll call vote.
All right, Kayola,
Yes, I approve.
Jim,
No,
Greg,
Yes,
Lee, yes. Marianne,
No,
Ross,
Yes,
Phil,
Yes.
Lee, did you vote?
yes.
Okay. So with that, that means that the term will be 1 year length term. 7 positions will be fulfilled.
And let's hope the new board does it correctly if they want to change it.
As far as the date, time, and location, as I try to go through this election process stuff, to give out a proxy, so we have to look at what we have to do before you can have an election. If you're gonna send out proxies, you have to give notice 21 days before you send out those proxies. So the soonest we could, if we were to give notice tonight, right after this meeting, then it looks like the soonest we could send out ballots and proxies for everyone to receive would be March 23rd. If you're following the law. So hopefully we could get the ballots and stuff sent out so people could start receiving their ballots and their proxies on the 23rd. So then it's how long after people start receiving their ballots do we give them to be able to mail those ballots back in? So as I was kind of looking at that, it looks like April 9th would be the
Who's,
soonest day we could do.
someone's moving around a lot. It's drowning you out, Kayola.
Okay. Did everyone hear that?
I think you said the soonest the election could be is April 9th. Was that correct?
Correct. Based on just the timing of the notice you have to give and giving people enough time to send those ballots back. Because the
And I
proxy,
think-
say
I
that
think that's
again.
cutting it close, Keola, because there's no way we can mail those proxy notices in a day.
No, what I'm saying is you have to give notice, meaning it says
Oh.
you post notice in your project, right? Trying
Okay,
to get an understanding of what that means. I would guess that would mean we could post it on the website and have it
Okay.
posted at the office, that proxies will be made available. So that's supposed to be 21 days before you actually send out proxies.
okay.
Does that make sense now?
Okay, so that would give us 3 weeks to get the ballots and everything together then, right?
Well, not necessarily 3 weeks. I would imagine if we could have them send it out on the 21st, then people should hopefully start receiving their ballots by the 23rd or 24th. Does everyone like have a calendar in front of them or anything?
Can I ask whoever is moving their computer or shuffling their desk, stop?
Payola, the 23rd is a Wednesday. That would be 3 weeks from today.
Correct. So that's why I'd say if we can get it timed right, so ballots start arriving to people by the 23rd. And if we can get that posted tonight, today could be considered one of those 21 days.
that's about 3 weeks.
How does everyone feel about the April 9th?
April 9th is about 3 weeks. If you did April 16th, that's going to give you over 4 weeks.
But that's Easter weekend.
That is, so that's not a good,
If people get their ballots starting the 23rd or 24th, that gives them 2 weeks and 3 days to get those ballots in.
Paola, if in fact the ballots were sent out, as someone indicated last Friday and several people haven't received them yet, I don't think it's reasonable to expect that they should all be received within 2 days.
Right, I understand that, but at least try to give it some lead time to having them sent out. And that's true that, you know, maybe there are some people that won't get them right, hopefully on the 23rd or 24th. It might be the 25th, but just trying to give enough time so they can mail those back.
that's still
If
like,
we're gonna, if we're gonna extend it, do we want to do it on April 23rd? And that gives people plenty of time, even the people from other countries, to get their stuff in if they send it. It's not like it's a panic.
Greg, the reason I'm going to basically agree with that, the 16th, if we went Paola from the 9th to the 16th, that's the day before Easter.
you
So
already brought
Greg,
that.
what's the difference between the 16th or the 23rd, other than there's not a conflict with a religious holiday? So I think Greg's idea, to me, sounds okay. The 9th is rushing it, the 23rd has plenty of time, if that's what we're going to do.
Okay. So does anyone want to make a motion on the date?
I'll make the motion that we hold the election for the Board of Directors and the membership meeting on April 23rd.
Okay, Greg has made a motion to have the election and annual meeting of the members, April 23rd. That's the motion on the floor. Any debate? Lee, if there's no more, if there's no debate, no more discussion, Lee, will you do a roll call vote? Did we lose him?
Paola,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes,
Jim,
I guess yes.
okay, yes or no? Lee, yes. Mary Ann,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Phil,
Yes.
That's everyone?
Yes.
Okay, I also move that to be at 1 o'clock, the LCA Pavilion on that day. That's the motion. Any debate on that?
Paola, is that the annual general meeting?
Yes.
Yes.
was that 1 PM?
1 PM.
Okay,
I'd also like to make a motion that we have Nanavali's Board of Directors do our election for us. They've offered to do it before they do HPPs and other subdivisions. They'll do ours for $300. So what we do when the ballot goes out, the return envelope would go direct to Nanavali. It wouldn't come into us at all.
Okay,
Greg,
Greg,
there's a
we'll-
motion on the floor.
Greg, we'll deal with that motion here in a little bit.
Okay,
Let's deal with this one. So they'll be at the LCA in person. So not by Zoom. Okay, go ahead, call a roll call vote, Lee.
okay, okay, restate the motion again.
Okay, the motion is to have the annual meeting of the members at 1 o'clock on that date we decided, April 9th,
Okay,
at the
April
LCA.
23rd,
April
Or,
23rd.
sorry, yes, thanks, thank you. April 23rd
Okay.
at 1 o'clock PM at the LCA Pavilion.
Okay. All right. All right, Keola,
Yes. Lee,
I think we lost his audio. Okay, I think he may be back here.
okay, I'm back.
okay. You
Okay,
got my yes, correct?
Keola, yes. Greg,
Yes,
Jim,
Yes,
Lee, yes. Mary Ann,
Yes,
Ross,
Yes.
Phil,
Yes.
Next discussion. Let's see. Candidate CCR vetting. The Ross, I'll let you say a few things about what's been going on.
Okay. For this process of vetting, we have no paperwork from before our time as the board to examine. We have no idea as to who submitted plans for anything because we don't have those documents. Therefore, this process is about compliance in the now at this present moment. Every candidate attested to their compliance on the motion. Concerns for a candidate's compliance are based on what can be seen without entering the property, complaints, tax county records, and understood and known issues. Should there be any concerns, then they are discussed with the candidate. If the information I have conflicts with the candidate, what the candidate gives me, then there may need to be an inspection in order to verify. Although it's been said that I'm the one doing the vetting, this is really not the case. As a member of the architectural committee, I am reporting my findings to the board so that they may be brought up to, so it may be brought up to the entire board and vote on. I'm not the last word on the board is. And also, it's been posted. We discussed this in our last meetings. It's been posted on the website that there's a phone number for people to call me. 5 have called without any problems. But I am constantly now being harassed, and I take it as harassment at a very dark time in my life. And I will not have people texting me or using my personal email that I haven't given to you. It was uncalled for you people to put that out there. So just so that we're clear, if you want to be vetted, you call me on the number that's listed on the website. So with that, I make a motion to close the vetting process on Friday, March 4th at 5 p.m. because we've done this for almost a month now. And only 5 people have gone through the process without any problems whatsoever. That's all I've got to say.
Ross has made a motion to close the vetting on Friday. Did you say a time, Ross?
5 p.m.
Friday at 5 p.m. That's this Friday, correct?
March 4th, yes.
March 4th at 5 p.m. That's his motion on the floor. Is there any debate?
absolutely. Ross
Okay.
has gone public, as has another director, to coming after me personally, saying they can't wait to institute fines because of the height of my house. And as I've written to council, after 3 different attorneys have opined, I'm in compliance with the CCR's period, hook, line, and sinker. This is what I've said to the directors. I know exactly how high my house is, in as much as I have approved plans. Therefore, without someone coming on my property, the board and the architectural committee, not just Ross, who personally has issues and has a complaint against him being in compliance, that's lodged with the LCA officially, by the way. I don't think Ross and the other person involved are the proper people. I think we should
I'm
dissolve
not running, Jim.
Wait, Ross, just a second.
for the very same reasons that you dissolved the one committee. I think that we ought to appoint a different, or in fairness, you get to pick one and the dissenters get to pick one, and so on, unless they have 4 or 5 people make a report. In my case, I'm in compliance. The lawyers have said 3 different times I'd be in compliance according to the CCNRs, but as Phil said on the bylaws, this is a specific example with regard to me personally now. So this is my personal issue. You people only want to recognize the CCRs that you like, not the ones that state the way it really is. You don't have to like them, but they're the ones we're forced to live with. There's been no lawsuit, according to clause number 1, ever filed against. There's never been a complaint in 18 years. And so why suddenly is the height of my house an issue? And if need be, we can go back to 2004 and get a couple of the directors that were in place then to come and attest that they understood the height of my house, because it has to do with porting over the CCNRs from Kona to this island. And the height of the house is not an issue in the jungle. It is in Kona.
Doesn't matter. Jim's
Jim.
right.
Okay.
It
Ross,
does.
The reason
Are you
this whole
done?
thing started, Jim, you started it. You were the one that said in one of our meetings that you were concerned that you weren't in compliance with the CCNRs because of the height of your house. You said that to the whole board.
Well, and you also said to me and to others that we had never enforced it ever, except there was a lawsuit, interestingly enough, in I think 1993 about the height issue, and it's reflected in the CCNRs. Otherwise, in 50 years, we're talking about precedent here, 50 years, no one has ever enforced the height of the house issue. And by the way, I'm not the only one that house exceeds the height. I encourage anybody that thinks that my house is offensive or in any way poorly reflects on the community to call me up, and you're welcome to come. But I don't want the people that have a vendetta and it's public and it's posted against me. I think it's, as referred to in the bylaws, willful misconduct for them to have done that and to say that I'm not in compliance. The lawyer has already said to you people on the board, yes, definitively, if a lawsuit wasn't filed and an objection was not made, and in fact, I was approved, that I am considered to be in compliance. I don't know what English language you don't understand, but that is clear in the CCNRs, period, over and out.
Ross, did you have something to say?
All I know is there have been complaints about height of homes. I know it came in on Keola's. I know there were complaints about Greg's. Those were investigated. Everyone was given the opportunity on this board to come and witness our findings. And if you weren't available, it was stated that I'm sure people would allow you to come and they would show you that they were in compliance. You, Jim, Mary Ann, have stated that we're not allowed on your property. We're not going to be able to check, and that's it. So that's just your thing. So, and then you put out one about me not being in compliance.
I didn't put it out. I didn't put it out. I only pointed out that.
Okay, it's my turn. I'm talking, okay? So anybody who wants to be vetted, give me a call and we will discuss what any concerns may or may not be. You have not given that opportunity. You've snubbed me just like you've been snubbing me for a year. So, okay, it's up to you. That's
Okay,
it.
is there any more debate on this motion?
Yes, I just want to respond to Ross's comment. I don't give a hoot whether you or Greg had somebody come and inspect, because you were exempted by clause number 1 in the CCNRs. It's matter of fact and matter of ruling governing documents.
Is that the debate? Okay,
That's motion.
The motion on the floor is that the vetting process end this Friday, March 4th at 5 p.m. That's the motion on the floor. And as we discussed in the February 10th meeting, or that was voted on. Those who refuse to participate in this vetting process will be removed as candidates. So the motion on the floor, like I said, the vetting process ends this Friday at 5. We'll go ahead and do a roll call vote, Lee.
Okay, Keola,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Jim,
No.
Lee, yes, Mary Ann,
No,
Ross,
Yes.
Bill,
No.
Okay, the motion carries. The vetting process will end this Friday at 5. All right, moving on to the ballots.
I need to, Keola, I need to ask, if ballots were mailed out last week, who paid for those?
I did.
Okay,
Just like Greg did when he chose to do the assessment, sent that out. That's apparently how y'all do it.
No,
Seems
that's
kind of
not how
odd.
you do it.
Pardon
There's
me?
a- There's the difference between regular office business that gets done and going ahead and sending out stuff without approval. I don't need an approval to send statements out. I send them out 3 or 4 times a year.
I wasn't asked or approved of that mailing. That's clear.
What mailing?
When you sent out those assessments.
I don't have to ask your permission. That's part of the office process. We mail them out. The only thing that would have had to have an approval was if we increased the dues. We didn't increase the dues. We did our normal year-end closing. We got the stuff out. We sent the bills out to get the money coming in because we need the money.
If I had been asked, I would have raised it 10% as we're allowed to do.
Okay.
There was no discussion. That's
Call-
right.
Call to order. This is about the election. So ballots.
Keola, if I may comment, please, Greg was reimbursed, Mary Ann hasn't been. So if what you're saying, Mary Ann is not going to get reimbursed for what she did, then you should say so. Thank you.
Okay, regarding the ballots. Just from the ballot that I saw that got that sent out, I believe there's information missing from the ballot. And so before we actually send out ballots, they need to be approved, I think, by legal counsel. Just to make sure, because the state law gives all members a right to inspect the election materials after the election. And also, there's no way for anyone to say, well, did you count my vote? Which does happen seems to happen every year. People want to know if their votes got counted. And with the ballot the way it was, there was no way to identify or to know that someone's vote was counted. So I've already started working on the ballot and I've already sent some to legal to try to get there for them to opine and look at that.
Keola, if you don't mind me asking,
Yes.
there was at the time a properly appointed election committee and Mary Ann and Phil did their job. What gives you personally the authority to A, correct the ballot and send it on without discussing with any of us to the legal counsel for review?
What's that? What gives me permission to do so?
Yeah. I mean, Mary Ann did what she thought was right. And now you're saying,
Okay,
because
did
you're
she send it?
president,
Did
you
she
can do
send it to legal? Did you guys have it vetted through legal department?
was it always had in 50 years, has it always been vetted through the legal department? I'm not aware of that.
Well, I don't know. That was part of, the litigation as well, is that the prior board didn't do the election correctly. And so some of these things came out through that election.
Yeah, no, I don't want to be on the election committee. And if you want to do it, that's fine. My point I'm making to you is it looks as though you personally think that you could do the ballot and send it over without discussing it with the other 6 members of the board. I haven't seen whatever you're proposing as a ballot.
It's the same ballot as last year that Lincoln approved.
Well, then why do we need to get legal approval again?
Just to make sure it's done right.
Mm.
Yeah, because Lincoln was so correct in everything that he did.
Then why would we copy what Lincoln did based on what you just said, Lee? I don't get it. I'm not objecting. I
That's
don't
the
want to be on
reason-
the election committee.
Well, you sure do
Well-
put yourself on it.
Well,
Okay,
I'm not,
Call-
haven't been, I
call
just
the
like to
order.
see it.
call the order.
Okay, I thought my 2 cents or my 2 cents, no snickering, is we all agreed that the election was not run correctly. And when the previous board was elected, and we vowed that we would do it correctly. Everybody on this board agreed to that. Now, Jim, you don't want to do that?
That's
That's
not
what
what I
I'm
said.
hearing.
That's not what I said. What I would like to do, especially since you guys just passed a ruling that things must be done by Friday. I simply
Whoa, 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 whoa,
propose,
whoa, whoa. Please,
Let him speak.
please, well, please quit saying you guys. The board voted as a majority. So quit
Okay.
saying you guys.
all right, the board voted as a majority to give us the candidates until Friday. I would think that it's reasonable to request of our president to send a copy of what he sent to the lawyers so that the 6 other members of the board can give their opinion, and by Friday should be adequate.
Okay, I will do that.
Thank
I will
you.
send that to you. Absolutely.
And may Kayla make another note, is that you haven't decided on anything as far as I know. You
No.
just wanted to get an opinion. And that's far cry from what's been taking place.
Okay.
And just for your information, the ballots that we used to send out on the previous boards that I was on, they were approved by our attorney.
Okay. Let's go ahead.
What's the motion? Or
There
is
is no
there-
motion. It was just discussion about the ballot. So I'll send out what I sent to legal so everyone can see it. Also with the proxy form, I noticed that the proxy form that was sent out this last time, there were some changes on it. That were different than what was sent out last year. And so that would, which actually changed the meaning of it. Especially the third option on the proxy form, it says the new that you give, I don't remember, I saw it, but anyway, that needs to be changed and corrected. So again, I'll send that out. One other thing I noticed is that in the cover letter that was sent with those ballots, a proxy can be given to anybody. It's the person giving the proxy that needs to be the member in good standing. I can go give my proxy to Joe Blow on the street, but I have to be in good standing. Joe Blow doesn't have to.
Two questions. One is, in good standing is defined as current on last year's dues. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, and then can we look at the calendar, just if you don't mind, so I understand what we're agreeing to here? You're going to try and have posted apparently tonight or tomorrow on the website, notice of the election.
Notice, no, it's, what it is notice that proxies that we're soliciting proxies. In other words, we're distributing proxies. That's what the notice has to say, that we're distributing them as an LCA.
Okay,
As
it's
an
just
association.
notice.
Yes.
And then between now and, maybe the 16th or 17th, 18th or 19th, something like that, we're going to review and approve the new ballots and proxies. So that gives us maybe 2 weeks,
Correct.
and then have those in the mail by the 23rd. Am I correct about that, or that's the goal?
Hopefully receiving them by the 23rd.
Okay, I'm clear. I hope everybody else is. Thank you.
Okay, so. Okay, so yeah, if we can get that notice out tonight, we're all good with that. So then we get down to date to mail ballots and proxies. Well, we're more concerned with when everyone receives them. We'd like it by March 23rd or 24th, so that will have to be discussed with the mailing company. And
It goes fast, so if the
It
ballot,
seems like-
once the ballot's approved, if I upload that, I mean, it goes out the next day.
okay,
It's pretty fast, once I've got the actual form.
How long did Mary Ann's take to get out to us? When was that authorized? How long?
I don't know.
They went out Friday.
Wow, that we got, because I think I got mine, what, on
Monday.
Saturday or Monday? I got it really
Monday.
fast.
They actually could go through pretty quick. I didn't get mine
Yeah,
yet, so.
we didn't get one yet.
Okay, some people have not gotten ballots.
That's one of my biggest complaints about this whole year. Oh, I think you froze up. No, there you go.
So,
Is what we need, what needs to be done in the future with this next board is completely upgrading, updating the database with email and mailing lists and bad addresses that didn't get addressed this year. So hopefully the new board will be able to do that.
okay. All right, as far as moving on to a date to mail notice to members not in good standing, there's also a requirement for that. Because we have to notice them that they're not in good standing, so they have a chance to come current on their dues. And the note, it has to be the same as what you would notice a meeting. So I think as soon as we can figure out who those people are, Greg,
Okay,
then we should send that notice out. Is there any idea how long it would take to get that list?
I don't think it should take too long. I'll check with Kim tomorrow.
Okay,
Teola,
Kind of
for the
a
record,
cumbersome process, because you actually have to go and run the programs and then delete the stuff you don't want, so.
okay,
Teola, for the record, in as much as we're rolling over into April and the current year's dues are due on April 1st, it must be made clear on the ballot that in order to be in good standing, it refers to last year, 2021's dues. Is that correct?
We
When
should
are
just,
this year's due now? When's the due date for them this year? The end of
April
this
1st.
month? April 1st?
Yeah.
If the election is on the 23rd, everybody should be paid up, right? If we're moving out the
Yeah.
election?
that's actually true.
I think historically,
That's fine.
and maybe that's one of the reasons it was in March, it was to always reflect back in last year's. I mean, I'd love to have everybody paid up, as we all would, but I don't know if that's reasonable to impose that on people essentially voting now.
That's true, because you would have to give notice like immediately April 2nd or something.
yeah,
And I don't think that's enough time.
Yeah, this is the March 19th election we're talking about.
So it would be good for those. So is that what we're looking at then? They're good on dues for this year?
No, I recommend through last year, that's the way it's always been.
Right.
Again, I'd love to collect the money, but I don't think we have, in fairness, the right to impose that on people. Although April 22nd, people will be delinquent.
Right. You're delinquent when the election is. It's just my thoughts.
Should have been in March.
You unfairly disenfranchise a lot of people that way, is my opinion.
yeah, I'm thinking too, I mean, in the past, we've never, people don't always pay right by the 1st and they never got penalized. In fact, we don't even send out the first past due notices till July. I mean, we kind of give them a couple of months free ride on it, and we charge them interest, but
Then go with 2021 to be
Yeah.
consistent.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah,
2020.
then we could, yeah, and God forbid we have the fiasco we had last year with the treasurer, or not the treasurer, but with the secretary holding back $2,000 or something. Of how they even got the checks in their possession is amazing me. But, so I agree with the consensus is that we just do it like we've always done it
Okay.
last year.
Does everyone agree with that?
yeah.
Any-
Yes.
Yes,
Okay. All right, so get back with us, Greg, about when you can send out notice for not in good standing. Okay,
Okay,
all right, ballot counters. This is where your thing comes in, Greg. You were talking
yeah,
about.
sorry, I kind of jumped ahead there. So I'd like to just make a motion that we have the Nunavali people do our ballot counting for us, so the ballots would go back, be sent to them rather than coming to our office. And they'll do it for $300.
Okay, so the motion is to have people from Nunavali come and count the ballots for
No.
$300.
no,
Is that the motion? Did I get it right, Greg?
The motion is for them to count the ballots, but the ballots will be going to them. They won't be coming to us to count them. So they'll count them there and they'll bring the results to us. Kind of like the League of Women Voters, only it's not a Nunavali doing it.
And they'll bring the ballots too, right?
Yes, yeah.
Gotcha.
And they've done it for other,
They'll bring the ballots. They'll bring the ballots in an envelope that shows who sent the ballot in, right?
yes.
Correct.
so question
the
about,
what-
Wait, just a second. So we have motion on the floor. The motion's open up for debate. Go ahead, Jim.
okay, I didn't know if there was a motion or not, but my
the-
point simply was people that are used to just dropping their ballots off at the office, then it would be Kim's job, I guess, or someone's to get those over to Nunavali. Is that the way
Right.
that would work?
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other discussion or debate? If there's no other discussion or debate, we'll call a vote on, wait, actually, I have a question. So the proxies would go to them too? Everything gets mailed to them then?
Yes.
Okay. And everything that gets dropped in the Dropbox goes to them?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Who would
So,
that be then that will get him to Nunavali?
It'll likely end up being me. Kim will collect them out of the Dropbox. Or if anybody drops them off, and I get them over to Maddie. Unless you got a problem with that.
I just asked. Thank you for answering.
does anyone have any
I just want to be clear
concerns
because
about
I think this was somewhere in the ballots. I think it said must be received by the secretary by 4:30 if the secretary is absent, of course. But Greg, you're going to empty the box at 5 o'clock, midnight or whatever, and get it over to them on the day before?
Yes, or even the morning of, even before when we ran the elections. We used to, well, our mail got delivered earlier then, but we used to even get whatever mail came on Saturday morning. We opened it and gave it to the ballot counters and they were included in the election.
Okay, so we're doing our best to get everybody that
Exactly.
votes in. Thank you.
So the ballots that are received in the box on the 23rd, as long as they're by 1 PM, they will be included in the counts.
Yes,
That's fair enough.
How would that work? Does that mean the league or the Nunavali people come here then? Because our meeting starts at 1.
yeah,
Somebody
so,
would.
and you don't announce the results until partway through the meeting anyways, so that gives the ballot counters a chance to add anything into it. They have to collect proxies that day also, and so it gives them time to finalize it and then give the results.
Thank you.
Okay. Any more debate or discussion? Okay, Lee, will you call the vote?
Kayla,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes,
Jim,
Yes,
on-
Jim,
yep, yes,
Lee. Yes. Mary Ann,
Yes,
Ross,
Yes,
Phil,
Yes,
Okay, the motion carries. We'll be having the people from Nana Valley go ahead and count the ballots. So they'll also be handling the ballots. Okay, last thing on here, a correction letter for what was just sent out. Let's have the discussion on how we want to deal with that. Just gonna send out a letter or,
I'm thinking that maybe the letter needs to be in with the ballot, the new one. And I'm also thinking that the ballots need to be printed on colored paper other than white like they were, so that it's easy enough for the ballot counters to distinguish. Because I think there's such a huge opportunity for confusion with two sets of ballots and stuff going out, that I think basically from my ballot, and I think it's over on the table, pretty much it's all white. So if we could, I don't know if we could get them to do it all in a colored format that the paper is and the envelopes. So it's very easy, because I know before in years past, when we sent out the ballots with the statements for payment, there were green envelopes for one and white for the other, because they were supposed to separate them. But I know that was always confusing, that checks ended up in the wrong envelopes and so forth. But I think just for simplicity for everybody involved, it should be a different color.
I agree with you, Ross, and I agree that it should be one mailing. That saves money. The color paper just costs a little bit extra, but I agree with you.
Thanks.
okay. So
who's gonna draft the letter?
say that again, Lee, I didn't hear you.
Who's
Who
going to
is
draft
going
the
to?
letter?
Is there anyone want to volunteer to draft the letter, or does that just be part of the cover letter? To explain that basically this is the official ballot.
yeah, I think just on the cover letter,
Yeah.
Just put it on the cover letter, right?
yeah.
Does anyone volunteer to write the cover letter?
I think Mary Ann and I would be happy to do it.
You're right, Phil.
Okay,
Needs to be turned in before it gets mailed.
Oh, we've been dissolved though, so never mind, Phil.
is everyone fine with Phil and Mary Ann writing the cover letter?
I'm fine with it.
No issues.
Okay. All right,
So we have to have this approved by the Pope before we do this, or what?
Oh, God.
well, it'd be nice just for us to look at it so we can see how readable it is, and just pass it around, make sure we understand. Does that make sense?
Sure, absolutely.
but by the way, it seemed that there was a cover sheet so you could mail back in your envelope and have the address on the right side instead of the left side. And immediately on the back of that, at least on what I got, was the first document. And when we put this together, whoever we happens to be, I think it needs to be such that whatever gets returned, hopefully is a single or maybe two with the proxy, and that's it, if that makes sense. So the cover letter would be on the flip side of the re-address form, if that makes sense.
Correct, right.
Okay, we can work out
Okay.
those details, try to figure that out.
Keola, in all honesty, you know very well what I'm going to write, and you're not going to like it, and neither is anybody else. So I think that rather than prolong this painful issue, you should write it. I was being halfway facetious when I said I would do it. I didn't think you'd take me seriously.
I didn't either.
All right. Okay.
I'll craft a simple paragraph that goes in the cover letter. Keola, you're welcome, and everybody else to review it.
No, I'll work on that later.
So is that a no?
No, I thought you said just a simple paragraph. So,
No, just to be added into the cover letter. Simply
Okay.
saying that by vote of the board, the election's been extended, yada, yada, yada.
okay.
I agree. It should be simple too. Too many words gets complicated.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other business we need to figure out concerning the election?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, with that, we'll go into members' comments and questions. I'd like to change the format a little bit, so we'll vote on that. What I'd like to do is that for this member comment and question portion, for those that raise their hands and want to comment or question, you can have one question or one comment, and we'll run. So that's all you get. You get one question or one comment. And if we can get through everyone in a decent amount of time, maybe go through a second time or whatever. Just kind of see how time is.
It would be helpful if everybody sticks to the point that they want to give and not give us a 5-minute dissertation of their, just state what they need to state.
Yes.
So Keola, just to be clear, this is with regards to election only. Is that correct?
Regards to election only, that's correct. I'll go. That's the motion on the, that's the motion on the floor. Is everyone in agreement with that or no?
Yes.
You want me to do a roll call?
Yes, go ahead.
Keola,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Lee, yes. Jim,
Yes,
Ross,
Yes.
Mary Ann,
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
Okay, we'll go ahead and open it up for the members.
All right, the first member up is Daryl. Daryl, you can please unmute.
Okay. All right. So my question is for people who have multiple lots, of course, they get a vote per lot. So if there's going to be 7 people, that would be 14 votes. How are you identifying that on the ballot so there's no confusion?
How are we identifying that on the ballots? I didn't hear that last part.
Sorry. So for people who own multiple lots, right, we get a vote. So there's 7 candidates. If you own 2 lots, you get 14 votes. If you own 3 lots, you get 21 votes. How are you identifying on the ballot you're going to send out so there's no confusion for the people who own multiple lots? Because I didn't see that addressed in the ballot that was sent out.
Right. Okay, you're right about that. So the ballot that just recently sent addresses that, so that if you write down how many lots you have, and so obviously that many lots times 7 is how many votes you get.
That's the way it was always done in the past, and I believe the counters, if I'm not correct, Greg, verified that they actually did have that many lots when they were verifying they're in good standings, correct?
That's correct.
It was on the
Yeah,
ballot.
it was always explained on the ballot, you know, how to, and it doesn't matter how you explain it, some people get confused. So some years we would change the wording a little bit to try and make it a little clearer, then we confuse more people. So we just kind of stuck with the same one over the years.
I have a technical question here. And it's simply for people that own multiple lots. They live in a home here in Leilani, but maybe they have 3 lava colored lots. What would be deemed to be, current? In other words, valid?
Pay
And
your
does it-
dues. Pay all of your dues. Whatever you have paid up, you would be entitled to be able to vote that. That would only
What
be
is it?
fair.
What is the current policy on lava covered lots?
Greg, can you answer that one?
Yeah, we're not billing them for them.
So,
So lava covered ones that aren't being paid shouldn't be voting those votes because they're not really participating. If they are paying theirs, because I know that was optional, people could pay, and I know Petra always said she was paying hers. So if that's the case, you should be able to vote. But if you're not paying, you shouldn't be voting those votes would be my.
unfortunately, I don't think we ever dealt with that. So
Agreed.
previous to this, it's been, if your lot got covered and you didn't have to pay your dues, you could still vote.
Yes,
That's my understanding. But those that came in after the eruption and purchased lots, they knew what they were getting. So then you pay those dues. Was my understanding. Is that correct, Greg?
Yes.
Okay. Does that answer, was that your question, Jim?
Yeah, so if someone has, for example, 10 lots and lives in one in a home and isn't paying on 9, he could still vote 10 times. Is that what we're concluding?
Seems unfair.
I don't know anyone like that, but if you got
I don't
9
like
foot
it.
covered, I don't know, hypothetically, I don't think that's an issue, really. If their lot's covered and we haven't changed that policy, then we have to go with the policy that's already in place. Which is those that got their lots inundated by lava. They've been able to vote without paying dues on those lava covered lots.
Yeah, you get to vote on the lots that you pay for. If you're not paying for them, you don't get votes for those lots. I mean, that seems pretty clear to me.
That's not, I think, what we just said,
Yeah.
Phil.
Could we
Yeah,
make a motion right now to make it clear?
That's a great idea. Let me make the motion that the,
just a second, Phil. Does that have anything to do with the election?
yes, it's the upcoming election.
Number of votes.
Yeah, but it's about people paying dues. This meeting is specifically about election stuff.
Well, Keola, it's who gets to vote and how many votes they get.
Yeah,
It's simply saying you just get the votes on the lots, for the lots that you pay for. That's all.
So there's a motion.
I lost. Sorry.
Phil's just agreeing with Ross, it sounds like to me.
Sorry, I can't,
It's a good question, Jim.
Petra's shaking her head viciously, so I don't know what she has to say on this. And I don't know what did we do last year?
we did what Greg
doesn't
said.
matter. There's a motion on the floor.
I ran the election last year, and this is exactly what we did. People got votes according to the lots that they paid dues on. Lots that were covered with lava that didn't pay dues didn't get to vote those lots.
Not true. It's not true.
Well, that's the way it should have been.
No, you're not billing.
Okay, wait, call to
Petra?
order. You have not.
All you gotta do is mute her.
Okay. So what? Okay, so looking at this as part of the election. So can you explain that again, Phil?
Well, it's just simply, Keola, about voting your lots. Just like you and I, we have a lot we live on, we pay the assessments on, we get to vote that lot. The same goes for anybody in here in the same situation. If you have a lot that's been covered by lava that you do not pay assessments on, then you shouldn't be able to cast votes for that lot. That's all I'm saying. And that's the way it was done, as far as I know.
Okay, so is that your motion?
Yes,
you-
I would move, I would move, I would
I would
move.
have to agree that does have to do with the election because it defines.
Yeah,
you,
but this is
so-
not fair.
Yeah, oh,
Whoa,
You
whoa, whoa,
need
whoa,
to,
whoa.
this,
oh,
Okay.
mute her.
Somebody mute her.
Petra, please do not interrupt the meeting.
So I just forgot, Phil.
we're in good standing, and as long as standing, you are,
Okay, first of all, good standing is defined by your paying of assessments.
Right.
That's just how
you're
it is.
not billing.
Okay, the
Come
next
on.
time you're
You're
next
not
time, you're gonna be removed from this meeting if you keep. Will you please stop? So again, rephrase your motion, please, Phil.
The motion is that the lots that have the privilege of voting are those that have paid their dues.
You're not even billing the people. You're not billing.
Good point, Petra.
That means we're not in contempt.
Good point.
Okay. I keep forgetting what your motion is, Phil, sorry.
My motion is.
Withdraw, withdraw.
My motion is that the lots that have are current with their assessments are the lots that someone owns that gets the vote. If you own a lot that's covered by LABA that you don't have to pay assessments on, then you don't get to vote that lot.
You're not billing
Okay, the motion,
assessment.
okay, David, will
Okay,
you
we have heard her
remove her from
make
the
that
meeting,
same
please?
comment over and over.
Thank you.
She has a valid point.
She
I
has,
know, she's made it.
all right, so the floor is open for debate.
How about, could we come to agreement that people with vacant lots, so the example I had was you live on one and you own 9 lava covered, that we have a minor assessment. And the reason it's not fair to assess the full 200 is they don't have services. We don't have roads that get to the lots, et cetera. But we could say $25 or some amount just to have them pay some amount and keep them in good standing.
It's too late in the ballgame to do that.
No, if you're doing a mailing, it's not.
Well, it's too complicated.
And the mailing's already been done. And one thing is, it was always voluntary that people could continue to pay their dues, but they didn't have to if they were lava covered, has always been my understanding. But I think I'm surprised we are agreeing on the same thing, because if it's in good standing, if you've paid your dues.
It's okay, Ross. Ross, it's okay, really.
I
And
know,
it's true, it was given, they were given the opportunity, if they wanted to pay them, they could, and some people actually come in and pay them or send the money in still. So the opportunity was always there and they were aware of that.
Okay, so the question for me is this too late in the ball game to require this for this particular election?
No,
No, they already did it last year, so it's already precedent.
They already established those people who have lava covered lots as not in good standing if they didn't pay for them.
That's what Phil said when they did the election last year, they weren't counted.
On just those lots.
That's
Yes.
right.
Any other discussion or debate on this?
It wasn't enough for these people to lose their lots. Now they don't get to.
Mm.
Okay.
With Keola, it appears that there's some confusion and a number of issues here. I think as a result, I would withdraw my motion for this meeting and ask everyone to think about this for the next time we meet. Thank you.
Okay. I haven't given enough thought about that, so.
Can I interject something? Since you're going to be sending something to Amanda or Terry, could you just ask them their opinion real quick?
Good idea.
Real quick doesn't apply to attorneys.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
Well, can you ask them a half hour?
Okay,
we make a decision. Yeah.
so Phil has withdrawn his motion. We'll go on to the next hand that's raised.
Okay, that would be Jeffrey. Jeffrey, you can go ahead and unmute.
Yeah, I'd like to just say a couple of things, especially about the lava covered lots. I know last year I didn't receive a bill. So if I'm not billed, I technically own nothing. So I certainly can't be in default for my lava covered lot, and certainly it would be entitled to a vote. The second big point I'd like to make is this session was supposed to be for public discussion, and you guys kind of hijacked it to try to conduct more LCA business. So I would appreciate if you would stay on track. You already had your chance. Now this is public discussion, and you hijacked it. And then I also noticed on the website, the list of nominees for the board was removed. So I'd like to hear you state that who currently are the board members, are the nominees that are running for the board, since it's not listed anywhere on the website.
Okay, no. So I don't know about any nominees being removed off the board. That's all I have to say about that. I don't know.
All right. Okay, if there's nothing further, Ann and Mick, please unmute.
Yeah, I'm confused here about something. You guys have filed this lawsuit. You're gonna get to the election, so don't worry. And you've said all along that you can't change the bylaws that you claim were changed illegally by the last board. And then you turn around and you change the bylaw that allows you to change the term of the election. How's that? You shouldn't change.
We didn't change it. We didn't change any bylaws. We never changed any bylaws. We just said the bylaws that were enacted by the previous board were invalid. We never changed them. They're exactly the way they were prior to the 2020 board.
I can't hear Mick.
Yeah,
Mick has been muted because he stated his question.
Oh, dear God.
okay, so essentially that's the stance we're taking, is that we didn't change the bylaw, merely invalidated what the previous board did.
Wait a minute, Sheila, let me.
Yeah.
Come on, you guys. This is
David,
ridiculous.
David,
Honest
be
to God.
fair here. He's trying to make a point.
Yes, please, please.
I'm-
Okay. Let me just hear the remainder of his comment.
The point isn't that you changed the bylaw. The point is that you did not reverse any of the decisions from the prior board. And the reason I heard was because they changed the bylaw and you shouldn't. But then how come when it comes to changing this to a one-year term, you can do that? If you're going by what was established before, and you're telling me that that's what it is, then how can you do that?
Okay, are you finished then?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Because as I stated earlier on in the meeting, our point or our stance is that the bylaw was amended incorrectly to begin with. Is merely our declaration that they did so incorrectly, but according to the charter, according to a properly amended bylaw in 1969, it was supposed to be done by a member vote. Now, of course, we hope for a ruling from the judge, but the judge also wanted to see what kind of action we would take. And so this is part of that action. And now it would still be up to the judge to decide if that's the case.
But you've never changed any of the other
Okay,
things till now.
You asked your question, so that's my answer.
All right, we'll go ahead and move on to the next member. Rod Kendall, you can go ahead and unmute.
Concerning the members in good standing. The decision to allow the lava covered lots to not pay dues and still have a vote was Jay Trevorski's decision. It was not voted on by a board of directors, nor is it properly communicated. I studied the 180 peripheral lots on Jay's list, and 47 of them were recognized as by the county as having value of $17,000 or more. And Jay determined they were not of value and those people did not have to pay dues. 24 of those properties were recognized by the county as having zero value, and Jay determined they had great value and had to pay dues. If those people don't pay, they don't get the vote. I would suggest, if the whole board agreed to it, we have a voting amnesty and every member get the vote this year. Takes so much of these issues off the table. Thank you.
Good idea.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we'll go ahead and move on to Pete Wilson. Pete, I'm going to ask you to unmute. I would ask you to also please be respectful of the members and not go yelling and screaming here.
I'm not yelling and screaming. You people are hypocrites. You could have done the job in January of last year or March of last year and done just what you did tonight. And then we wouldn't have all this BS. Your incompetence, the board's incompetence, 4 of the board's incompetence at least, is the problem. You didn't do your jobs. You didn't like what the previous board did. You could do the same thing that they did and knock it down. The judge said neither of the participants in that case had any standing, and he didn't even want to rule. You can't even read the friggin' writing on the wall.
Thank you, Pete.
Okay, I just correct that. The judge never said that we didn't have any standing. He said there actually is a valid dispute. So, any more?
No, that is all. Oh, we got one other, sorry, I missed it. Sarah, go ahead and unmute.
Aloha, everyone. I agree with Petra. I don't think she should be penalized, or anyone who has a lava-covered lot should not be allowed to vote just because they suffered through this terrible tragedy of our 2018 eruption. I also like Rod's idea of amnesty. It would just get rid of a lot of fluff and maybe some clarity that people who are on lava inundated lots should be allowed to vote regardless of whether they're paying into the dues or not. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next we have Mark Ellis. Mark, you can go ahead and unmute, please.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, that was my fault there. Mark, please unmute again. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. Sorry you can't see me. I'm on a dark trail and don't have any light on me. So I also appreciate suggestion and Rod's. I think it's just not, this hasn't really been worked out to the membership's knowledge, and those who have lava covered lots certainly, I think, should at least be able to vote this time around. And then I'd like to also ask, I emailed you, Ross, and I certainly hope you didn't think I was impolite in any fashion. And I also didn't give out your email address. It was your email address from Neighborhood Watch, and you've emailed me officially many times. So that's why. And I don't understand. I learned lots of information in this meeting, or the first time I've learned any information about what this process is about and why. And I don't understand why it can't be done by email and writing. So that would be my question. And you also said I could I could address this through the board. I'm willing to communicate in writing with the board on this, with you through the website. So is there any problem with doing this in writing by email? This vetting process or discussion? I don't even know what it is,
Yes,
really.
there is a problem with it. It's not that big of a deal. Give me a phone
Well-
call. That's been the directions. Just do it. I don't need this in my email right now. I don't want this. I got too many things going on. You
It's-
have no idea what's going on in my life right now. So just follow the directions or don't. It's very simple. I'm not asking for the world, okay? I just don't want you using my personal email or texting me. I got too much going on right now, okay?
It sounds like somebody else should be doing this because
I don't need to be dictated to, okay?
nor I.
This I know Ross will do what he needs to do, but we've asked that you please call him. All right, are there any more?
Nope, that is all.
Okay. Move that we adjourn this meeting, and the board members will reconvene in executive session in 30 minutes. So move that we adjourn this meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, this meeting is adjourned. I'll be sending